no other, thank you, Mr. Crowe. If there are no other issues under old business, item A, high school issues at this time, we are at the point in the meeting where we take a break. Is it the will of the board to take a break at this time? Okay, we will take a 5-minute break and return promptly to start new business.
I'd like to make a motion to approve attendance for the following students at Pinkerton Academy for the 2013-2014 school year. Melissa Bolden. Second.
Leanne, can you just make sure it has the same verbiage as we've used in the past in minutes?
My memory's not that good, Leanne.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 4-0. We're up to item D, which is interview of candidates for school board position. It is the will of the board. I thought that we would have candidates come up in the order in which we received their information. Is that okay with the board?
Madam Chair, there's one item that I wanted to discuss before we started, so that we can talk to it for a moment. I think I made a mistake when I restated the motion the second time in the minutes. The first version of my motion had the word random in it, and then we redid that motion and added some other language, and the word random got taken out. So I think maybe we should review what our process is going to be, before we start, so we're just all clear on what that is. Because I don't think the motion really is reflective of what we're thinking about.
Okay.
So we have the last
It will be the
You
April
want me to look
16th.
up the motion of last meeting, is that what you're looking for?
We're on April 16th, physical
Yeah, there was
page.
two motions, Leanne. I withdrew the first one, and I made another one. So the final motion that I made said that David Crowe motioned that all interested candidates in filling the vacancy submit a letter to the school board or superintendent before the opening of the May 7th meeting and be present at that meeting to give a 5 to 7 minute presentation and accept 2 questions from each school board member. I stopped there. In the previous version of that motion, we said that they would be selected in random order. I have really no preference with this issue, but I just think it's something that I made a mistake and didn't include that. And as I was preparing for this meeting, I thought that that was the standard motion.
So what is the will of the board? Random order, order in which received, or reverse order?
Madam Chair, it doesn't really matter to me. I think random order gives the highest probability of chance to each of the candidates. It's probably the most fair. That's my input on it.
And I think we should also specify, Madam Chair, if we're talking about the random order that they're going to speak, which I assume they're all going to speak first, and then we're going to vote individually. So would that random order for the vote be the same random order as they speak? I think we should clarify that.
That is up to the will of the board. I'm working on pieces of paper for random order.
So I guess what we're coming out with this is that we're gonna randomly pick someone, they're gonna speak. We're gonna keep that same order for voting.
That is my understanding of what the
Everybody good with that? I'm fine with that.
Does anyone have a hat I can borrow?
There's a reason you came. Right there.
Yeah, nobody can look once they have it gone. Maybe it's just for a minute.
We can do it all at once and we can create what the Raymond order is. I'm gonna go to the different administrators for each one. Could one of the board members please, write down the list for me? Just a little.
No, not. Oh, that's good. Hanging Chad, that was a hanging Chad.
Jim Sullivan is first. Jen Luzier is second. Kathy O'Hare is third. And Darlene is fourth. I just wrote Cody because I couldn't spell her last name off the top. Thank you very much.
I'm sure you have a question for the candidates. Put your hand up.
Yes.
Sorry, we had discussed having everybody that wasn't speaking to be out of the room as in favor, so like if they were asked a question, and do you think that the people that were gonna wait would mind coming in? I have no problem doing that, if that's what you guys would like us to do.
You had talked about that.
You had discussed that.
But I don't remember what our.
I don't believe that we decided to do that. We talked about it.
Okay.
Mr. Sullivan?
Can I ask, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Before you start, are you looking for verbatim of this entire interview process?
I'm not.
I'd like to know what you get though, so I know what I'm.
No, I mean, we have video on that.
May I stand, please?
Absolutely, Mr.
And
Sullivan.
I told I have 7 minutes, I have 6 minutes and 54 seconds. Thank you everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you tonight. I appreciate all that you do, and I'm here tonight to offer my service to the school district, the board, and the children of Hooksett. Community service is vital, and we all know that everyone who serves the school does so with dedication, conviction, and duty, with our main goal, which is the kids. We all hold that one core belief that we are here for the children. As the Rogers and Hammerstein song indicates, carefully taught, here in town, with the support of parents, teachers, administrations, and the citizens, everyone here is truly carefully taught. Sorry. One of the main roles the school board is responsible for is to approve teacher nominations. The teachers at Hooksett have always appointed have met that major requirement of being highly qualified. Though the term is part of the initiative of No Child Left Behind, here in Hooksett, we have always hired highly qualified teachers, and no child has ever been left behind. The principle of hiring highly qualified teachers should also be the guiding force in appointing school board members. In that regard, I offer my service to our children, for I believe I meet that high threshold of being highly qualified. For 12 years, I served the schools, though unfortunately I lost my seat last year by a mere 11 votes to the person who actually has stepped down. I serve with great joy, dedication, and desire to make things better. The years I served were successful, for we made all decisions that were based on what's best for the kids. We worked as a team along with great administrators, hired outstanding teachers, provided our overview of curriculums, and new worthwhile initiatives. We presented prudent budgets based on needs and not wants, and worked together with teachers and parents to provide the best opportunities to all. Were all our decisions well received? No, but rest assured they were done with our kids in mind. I am proud of my service, my ability to bring positive ideas to the table, and was pleased that we as fellow board members worked together. One of those great accomplishments was the successful building project, which was here at Colony School, which is actually now 10 years old, and Memorial. We were able to have it approved, constructed, well under budget, and we were actually able to obtain very low bond rates. With my 12 years of service, I'm ready from day one, once again, to serve the kids of our town. There will be no on-the-job training required, for I will be prepared knowing the processes, the protocols, the procedures, and the policies. I will be able to complement this board with my background, service, education, and dedication. In the resume I handed out, my service in all aspects of Hooksett is well documented. From Budget Committee, Council, Historical Society, Heritage Commission, Road Use Preservation, so on and so on. I've always given my best, and I am willing to give even more. Even if I did not have 12 years on the school board, or my other activities going back in town to 1989, I would be here offering my service as a highly qualified school board member based on my professional and educational background alone. 13 years ago, I came to the board well prepared with a great understanding of how the schools worked. I graduated from Keene State College with a BA in political science. I even attended an internship in Washington, D.C. I worked at John Hancock Insurance, which will be beneficial in dealing with the upcoming Affordable Health Act, which will start in 2014. After leaving the insurance field, I decided to go back to school to get my teaching degree, which I was inspired by my grandmother, who I have mentioned before, who taught Hooksett for 45 years. To accomplish that, I did observations in Hooksett classrooms, substituted here as well as in Bow and Manchester, and completed my 8th grade student teaching assignment in Memorial. After obtaining my teacher's degree in secondary education from Notre Dame College, I served Hooksett as a long-term sub in 6th grade, and also served as a one-on-one special ed aide to a 6th grade student. My last teaching position I held prior to my retiring due to my walking disability, I actually held 2 roles. At Nashua High School, I held a year-long position as a substitute teacher, working in every aspect of the high school experience. And when the winter storm damaged the city's junior high school, I took on the national role of the 9th grade World Cup teachers. So imagine, from the last part of February to the end of graduation, I was there serving 2 roles from 6:30 in the morning to 6 o'clock at night. With my experiences in the school setting, I come well qualified. I believe I still can make a difference working with you as a team player, bringing my educational background, my vast school service, and my town volunteerism to the table, as well as being positive, effective, responsive, and receptive school board member, willing to give my all, willing to provide well-thought-out reasons for my votes, and always willing to answer questions. I hold service dear to my heart, and I have a strong connection to all our students in Hooksett, over 1,200 strong, who all desire to succeed, learn, and to become productive adults and future community leaders. Though I do not have children of my own, I have taken great pride in every student's accomplishments and achievements, and know firsthand that we all can overcome adversities if we have a strong education, loving family, supportive neighbors, friends, and inspiring teachers. As a former teacher and as a school board member, I have vested interest in an emotional connection to all our students. Nothing is more rewarding than seeing a student working hard who has loved to learn, who after overcoming a personal health issue, walk across the stage to receive his well-deserved honor. As 150 of his fellow students, unprompted, stand up along with 500 other individuals giving a standing ovation. All of us here, regardless of who we are, cannot ask for anything more than seeing an individual child being able to stand on his own, beaming with pride and a sense of awesome accomplishment. And with that, and with great respect, I am privileged here tonight to offer my service to you as the next Hooksett School Board member. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the mic.
I would ask you these questions now, or we'll have them all answered first.
You have question, I'm sorry.
We're not
question
sure.
time? Sorry.
Okay, all right. Okay. Jen Legier?
I'm here tonight for the same reason I've been here for the past 8 months. Education trumps all in our household, and I love kids. I'm seeking appointment for the open school board seat. My views and opinions have not changed since the election. I'm very big on character and will continue to be part of the solution. I believe actions speak louder than words, and I have been a woman of my word. I have brought forth valuable data to this board. I have continued to bring awareness to the community regarding education, attempt to increase attendance at school board meetings, and encourage our community to have a voice via the HSB email. No matter what the outcome of this appointment, as I have stated during the election time, I'm in this and I'm not going anywhere. I feel that the timing of the current election, the 48 emails received by the board in support of my appointment, and the speakers that have come forth and public input that the community has come forth to make their voice heard. Thank you for your consideration, and I welcome any questions you may have for me.
Kathy O'Hara.
Hi, I'm Kathy O'Hara, and I thank you for giving me the opportunity to run for board. Recently, over the past year, I volunteered for the high school assessment committee, and I was privileged to work with some really dynamic women and parents, not just women, they were men too, that went out and investigated high schools and looked at different things. It was a group of people that didn't know anybody and came together, worked well together, and really inspired me. You know, I see what the parents want and I see what the public wants to do, is to really work well together for the future of our children and for the education. So, just a quick story, I don't know if you know, 40 years ago on April 3rd was the first cell phone call. And the inventor who made that call has been interviewed all through April, and he made such a great interview talking about the future. One of the things he says is that a lot of people talk about thinking out of the box. His recommendation is don't even create that box. You know, our innovation and where our children are going to have to go in the future, it's going to be just skyrocketing very quickly. So when we look at the school board role, what we see is today, but we also have to look at the future. So I really wanted to look at my skill set and how it may fit into the school board. And to do that, I needed to know what does a school board member working on a very effective school board do or have to do. So I did some research on what they do, and there actually happens to be a study on the National School Board Association website. And it gives you 8 characteristics of an effective school board. And one of the things that and I'm not going to go through all 8 of them, obviously, but a few that I thought that was very important for Hooksett. An effective school boards have a collaborative relationship with staff and the community, and they establish a strong communication structure to inform both the internal and external stakeholders in setting and achieving goals for the district. And the higher achieving districts actually had more involvement with the community, the administrators, the superintendents, and the staff. So in looking at that, I really wanted to see how I could play a part in that with the school board members. I happen to have, I actually work in healthcare, and I have healthcare undergraduate degree, but I did do graduate work in business administration at Harvard Extension. So I did a lot of work on budgeting, accounting, marketing, public relations. And I've used that throughout the years, working in corporate office, corporate office of National Healthcare, National Medical Center. They're all civic things, health management resources. And using those skills, that I think would be really helpful for the school board where we are today. One of the things that we need to do is have more community outreach. And I think that we've done a really good job at doing that recently, and those initiatives are really positive. I think when you have more connections with your community, we go back to the history of why there is a school board, and it's really so that the people govern at the local level. So to do that, you need to know what the people want in the town. As far as for public relations, what successful school boards do is they really outreach, and I found a public relations checklist for school boards that was developed by Iowa. So really you want to look at, does the school board have a policy on community relations and how to put their goals out? Has the board stressed the importance of good communication throughout the school community? And there's quite a few other things. So I think that some of the skill sets that I would bring is probably to look at that a little bit more. So the good things that everybody is doing here and monitoring gets out to the public. So not only the negative is out there, but you really create a lot of support for the school board if you have all that involved. Also, effective school boards are data savvy. They embrace and monitor data even when the information is negative, and they use it to drive continuous improvement. With my healthcare background, I'm very skilled at looking at research and really trying to determine which way to go. But also, if you implement programs that you look at your data, has it been successful? And if not, redirect that and do policy that actually will redirect that or improve it. So taking that into consideration, that skill set, I think is very important for a school board member. Also, effective school boards take part in team development and training, sometimes with their superintendents, to build shared knowledge, values, commitments, and improvement efforts. I think as a school board, there has been conflict, and I think it would be really important to do some more team building, some more training, maybe setting a goal. And that's one of the things that, having worked in many different businesses, if everybody's going in different directions, that particular company isn't going to go anywhere or be very effective. So the school board really has to set some goals and work together. This research is only beginning on school boards, so the effectiveness is the beginning stages. The studies included in the report make it clear that school boards in high-achieving districts have attitudes, knowledge, and approaches that separate them from their counterparts. And I think really we're very diverse in where we have a very successful K-8 program and monitoring and developing things, but we're floundering a little bit on the high school issue. But that's all that gets out to the public. So again, it would be really trying to get that information that we're doing a lot of great things. The school board's making some really great decisions and doing some more outreach to the public. So as a member, if you were to appoint me as a school board member, I would love to work with all of you to do a couple of things. Clarify goals of the school board, create a policy to support those goals, develop a public relations plan to get the information to the public, and then also get the information back to them too. Gather data to evaluate the effectiveness of your policies, and also to rectify anything when it's needed. So not only just make policies, but also follow and see how effective they are.
30 seconds.
And so I'm very pro-educational, obviously, I love education, but I also think not just as a town, but as a country we have issues. In headlines in 2009, China has more honor students than we have students. India has more honor students than we have students. And that's where our children up there are going to be competing in that arena. So the decisions we make today really affect our future as a country and also our children's future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Dr. Lopio and members of the school board. And my principals who I've actually met and who have educated my two children. I was born and raised in Upset, the daughter of an oil truck driver and a furnace repairman and a secretary. I put myself through college on my own dime, graduated 3 investment training licenses. So at the same, I have medical experience, and I'm actually very soon graduating from IRM as part of my new life change. I want to just read a quick quote. The future depends on what we do in the present. That's by Mahatma Gandhi. That quote really struck a chord with me, and with that, being proactive, not only putting myself through school, but also teaching my own son who has some learning disabilities, some learning challenges, and my daughter. Showing them what it's like to overcome adversity from growing up on the Massachusetts side of bypass 28, having nothing, and buying my own home off the Patrick Hill. I want to speak a little bit about how much special education means to me. Being a parent who has for 2 years fought to advocate for her son with Hookset has been a very challenging experience in dealing with the special education department. I've met 32 families who have struggled and hired private advocates and even their own lawyers at $225 an hour to fight for their children, including the fine gentleman who provided the books to you this evening, who happens to be my neighbor 4 houses down from me. I don't want that for the parents of Hookset. Growing up here all my life, and my family having lived in Hookset since 1920, which is still in the family, Hookset is very near and dear to me. And to see so many people unhappy with the state of special education in Hookset, and IEP compliance issues, it really strikes a chord with me. And I've actually become a trained parent volunteer for special education. I put a lot of energy in giving information at no charge to parents. When normally it's $100 an hour paid position, I've done it for free to better the children of Hookset. Basically, any child that they meet with special needs and the parents become a very quick friend of mine. With that, I feel it's a very underrepresented voice in Hookset. There is one family who is very vocal on Facebook and the Hookset banner and radio leader. That's a minority voice in Hookset. A lot of the times, the parents I've asked to use many different names. They refuse to use their names for fear of retribution, for fear of IEP services being revoked or rejected. I speak now with a lot of bravery in my heart because I'm actually going through the IEP process right now with my own son. Even me standing in front of the special education director right now, I'm taking a very big risk in having an issue with my own son's IEP. It'll be interesting to see when my son's IEP is implemented in June, exactly what will happen to him as a result of my decision to speak out and to actually seek a seat on the school board. I'm a very patient person, very professional person, who actually took the time to interview both Jen and John, and they were very kind to take their time to speak to me before the election. I seek facts. I don't name call. I don't accuse. I've seen that going on some of the candidates' Facebook page, unfortunately, this evening, disparaging both David and John. I felt very, being from Hookset, I felt, why is there such a level of unprofessionalism? Why don't we foster a culture of cooperation and teamwork? My goal in working with the school board is not only just special education, but me being a graduate of Central High School is very important to me. My own son will be attending high school. He's 7th grade now. He'll be attending high school in the very near future. With that, I personally will go to each and every high school that the school board talks to. I will interview not only general ed, I will look out for the needs of special ed parents by interviewing special ed directly, seeking all the facts and figures for myself and not listening to rumors. I think rumors going around Hookset are very toxic and won't get anything done. The biggest thing you know about me is I am very proactive. I don't like to sit around and wait for anything to get done. You'll see a lot of proposals and a lot of acts on those proposals as well. I really believe in follow through. And I think some of the principals sitting here can attest to, I followed through when I promised Mr. Bairstow I would come and speak and fight for him to have assistance in his school for the math and focus curriculum. I come and I do what I'm supposed to do. I've also worked very closely with Mr. Benson, who's been very patient over the last 2 years in the special education struggles with my own son. And so I have a bond and a relationship with many people in Hooksett, many families in Hooksett. And I think the compassion and the kindness to deal with people who are having struggles and the professionalism to know when yelling and being calm won't work.
30 seconds.
I think the most important thing that I'm going to do as well is I'm going to volunteer my own time to attend state conferences as Madam Chairperson has, continuing education and continuing ed workshops. Today I was at the Parent Information Center in Concord, New Hampshire for further advocate training to become even more skilled as a parent advocate in special education. I would like to actually, go and support some members here of the school board who want policies and procedures of the Hooksett School Board online and transparent. I'm a very big advocate of transparency. Anyone sitting here in the audience today, their friends, their family, and anyone in Hooksett should know what is the special ed budget and why was I told no 3 times when I asked for a copy of that special ed budget. It should be online. It should be transparent, as well as every budget and everything involved with the schools and the school board. And I would heavily advocate for that in a proactive and professional way without disparaging anybody. I'd like to thank the board for their time. And Dr. Loco, thank you.
I can see it, I can tell when it goes on, like, throw something at me. Do members of the Hooksett School Board have questions for certain candidates who spoke?
Yes.
Yes?
I do not. Okay. Mr. Lascars, would you like to go first?
So I just have one question for all of the candidates to answer. And it's just, through your skills and talents, how do you think you're best going to be able to help this school board moving forward?
Same random order, and Mr. Sullivan will bring the microphone to you.
Certainly, I'm sorry. I think the skill sets I have, I believe I touched on in my opening remarks. Background in education, special ed, student services, high school involvement, community service, working together as a team, understanding basic process of what it takes to educate our kids, understanding the roles of the school board, and being certainly transparent with how I address answers and how I am thoughtful in how I approach things and explain how I'm going to answer the question. So I think my experience in all aspects of community, town, education, and values, I think, is what I will bring to the school board. Again.
I have a question for Mr. Sullivan. I think this candidate.
No, I think that's fine.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Sullivan, if you're selected to be on the school board, will you resign from your seat on the town council?
No, there's no conflict, and I actually served both as a council and for a school board member for 1 year at the same time, and I gave 100%, and there was no time I was not unprepared or ready to debate and bring about the answers and succeed in what we needed to do, whether it was a school issue or a town issue. So there's no restrictions and requirements. If there was a conflict, I certainly wouldn't have run for school board for the town council last year, so no, I'm ready to give 100%, which I give 100% to all my other 7 activities I currently do in the town of Hooksett.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So the first question that was asked by Mr. Lescars, I think I would bring a positive approach. I think you have had the opportunity to see how I operate in 8 months. The community supports me. Education trumps everything, and my sole reason for being here every other Tuesday is for the kids. That's why I had volunteered to help you guys out when your numbers were getting low because you had a lot of committees that weren't being able to be fulfilled. Same reason.
Mrs. Logier, if you're selected to be on the school board, do you think that you can keep an open mind as we move into making decisions about high school and where our children will attend?
Absolutely. I have said, and I think I have showed through my actions, that I am totally data-driven. It's actually come up to be a negative thing that people think about me, but no matter what I feel is ideal, I go to where the data drives me. So as long as everything's been supported with data and the process is gone through, that's where I thought.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's fine.
Do you want to go in order?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
It's fine if she wants to go. It's okay with you.
She says it's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kathy said it was okay.
The skills and talents that I possess to move forward. I look for facts, but I also couple it with opinions coming from the community. I actually loved the roundtable discussion. I thought that was a very professional, fabulous idea. I had never seen it before in Hooksett. I think getting on the ground with the people and actually meeting your neighbors, talking to your neighbors, knowing what everyone thinks and what their opinion is, coupled with facts, coupled with data, I think it's a pyramid of really good research and knowledge. I feel professionally that everybody, regardless of race, religion, social status, income, again, being the daughter of a truck driver, I was able to, I can see things from the perspective of a blue-collar worker all the way up to a white-collar worker. I have that unique ability to understand people and from where they're coming from. I also do look to the community very often for opinions. I actually will call my neighbors and ask them, hey, let's get together and discuss this high school issue in a good, positive way rather than bickering or anything like that. I like to bring constructive ideas to the table, just like I did at the roundtable discussion. And I actually brought several of my neighbors with me that night. And I thought it went really well. I look forward to seeing a lot more of that in Hooksett. And I think with my skill set, my analytical knowledge, my finance base, my investment base, I think it will come together very nicely. Thank you. Sorry to still hear the accent from Asia, but I was born and raised in Hooksett.
I do have a question for you.
Sure.
One of the things that came out of the roundtable regarding special education was that perhaps we should try to teach parents of non-special ed children more about the special ed situation. So I'll give you a question here on the spot. Do you have any ideas how a board may achieve that?
I think the best way is through when people get together and eat and drink, they can't argue because their mouths are full. That's a famous Italian saying. That's what I really liked about the round table is everybody get together and actually meet people that have some special needs kids and basically ask them whatever they want. A lot of the times parents are a little bit guarded because they're afraid of being judged or that their child will be judged or what will people say, oh my gosh, what will people say? But there were a lot of very talented parents and actually people that are not parents yet who were very interested at the special ed table where I spent a good deal of time. And I think by educating them and telling about the struggles that we've gone through in Hooksett, and that it's a very minority situation if somebody has a good experience in special ed. Why is that? What can we do to make things better? What can we do with transparency with the budget? What can we do for services? And why does this child that's autistic and nonverbal, why do they need an assistive technology device? They can't speak to say they have to go to the bathroom, so they actually really need that for fair and appropriate education. Why does a child need an iPad for driving speak naturally speaking if they can't write or they can't type? They need the iPad because they need to be able to speak their thoughts into words which appear on the screen. And I think instead of spending 56 iPads for the general population and really not allocating anything for the special ed kids, I think I spoke volumes. And I think myself and a really kind woman who was just with me right now, we've become very, very involved in the community and educating them exactly why we have to pull our children.
Mrs. O'Hara?
As far as addressing skill sets, one of the things that I think is so important is when you do something. This community cafe was so wonderful. We've got a lot of great ideas from there. What I found being a facilitator, that there was a lot of confusion about information about JCB, about can we have contracts or can't have contracts, but implementing programs to get that information out, that it's not just hanging in the, once we've done it, it's not hanging in the wind there. And I think there's a lot of confusion out in the public. So really, one of my skill sets is taking the data, getting the programs, and implementing them in a timely fashion, and really trying to keep to dates, setting dates, making things and getting them done. Because a lot of times boards can let things go on for years, and all of a sudden it's out of date. You don't even need to implement it anymore. But the kids are the ones that suffer from that, and the educational system suffers from that. So really implementing things in a timely fashion.
Madam Chair, Mr. Pro. Mrs. O'Hara, I'll put you on the spot a little bit here. You mentioned setting goals, and particularly setting goals for this board. So I will ask you, you've observed us here. Is there a goal that you can think of now that you think that we should set for ourselves, or if you're selected, you would want to set for this board itself?
I think people have mentioned it before, but the biggest goal is to learn how to work in a unified and cohesive board. It doesn't mean that you're going to always vote the same, but it means that you're establishing a goal. You're all clear on what that goal is. Maybe it's a mission statement or something. And then when you're working together, you're actually trying to achieve that goal. So that would be probably the biggest goal right now, is how can a school board implement anything if the school board members can't even work together as a team? And again, I'm not saying that you're going to vote the same way on everything, but we are in a crisis situation when we look at the high school. And I feel like we've been in it for a long time. So I think sometimes when you're in a board, you keep putting things off. And I'll give an example of tonight. The motion that went through was just to get quotes. It wasn't to hire a lawyer. So now that could have been something that simply, yes, let's get quotes, and then let's learn, deal with it later. Now you put that motion off for 2 weeks, and then after that another 2 weeks. And we're being told by the mayor of Manchester that he's going to go to court, so that we're a little bit behind. I'm not saying he is going to go to court. I don't know. That's one of the things. But I think we need to set your goals and move quicker.
Thank you.
Still working on formulating my question. We had agreed that each board member had 2 questions for each candidate. Are there any board members that have additional questions who have not asked a question at this point? No.
No, I don't have a question. I just have a comment. Listening to the 4 of you tonight makes our job very difficult because we have 4 exceptional candidates, and all I can say is Hooksett, New Hampshire is very lucky for the citizens we have that are willing to step up and do the job. What brings me some peace is that we have an election coming up, and the citizens have voted this year to expand the board to 7 members. That brings me some peace because, again, we can only appoint one person tonight, but I'm hopeful that the 3 that aren't appointed come back for that election because you'll easily win, I can tell you that. Thank you.
Madam Chair, I'd like to echo Mr. Wiskar's comments, and I'd like to say that we are going to be posting some committee positions, that we certainly are going to be looking for some people, so I hope those that are not selected will certainly continue their service and maybe serve on some of those committees where we're going to need some people. Thank everybody for the comments and answering the questions.
I have one question for each of the candidates. If you were to pick one attribute that you bring to... Okay, I'm sorry. Is my microphone not working? It's working, I'm not talking about it right? I haven't drank enough water yet. I'm only in the 4th bottle. I would ask what one attribute you think that you bring to this board that will help us move forward.
That's always the question they ask the teachers, what's your best quality? I think I have a lot, but commitment, love of town. Being here since my family been here since 1917. With my grandmother May working for the town school for some reason, over 90 years of service to the community. I love this town. I love everything about it. We're not perfect, but if it were perfect, we wouldn't have all this fun trying to even make it better. So when we leave for the next day, things are actually better off. So commitment and dedication.
Thank you, Mr.
I have to chuckle because I have to say that what my mom said to me on Facebook today, which I don't know why she didn't call me, but she just said that you're always the best that you can be. And I think that's what I would bring to the board. It's what I bring to my friends, I bring to my community, I bring to my kids. I'm just me.
I think the biggest thing that anyone who knows me will say passion. I'm very passionate about what I believe in, what I feel is right for not only my own children, but any children that I see mean everything to me. So the one word, passion, dedication.
I think one of the things I would bring is that I don't take everything at face value as truth, that I will seek the truth, that I will do the research, I will do the data investigations when necessary. Not to make it so difficult that we can't make a decision, but enough to really get to the truth of the matter. If that means calling the Department of Education, I will. If that's within the rules, I'd have to check that as a school board. But really finding out what's right and wrong. So we are, as a board, you get recommendations, but then you have to find out what are the consequences of the recommendations, what's best for the children, and then make a decision. So I won't take everything at face value. I will do the research.
Thank you very much. Any more questions? I just want to make sure that the board has ample amount of time to make their decisions. Just need to ask a point of order. Never been here before. Hooksett School Board hasn't been here in a very long time to be appointing somebody. It's my understanding, and I want to make sure I'm understanding and doing what the will of the board is that we're going to nominate and second each person and vote in the random order that they were received. Is that correct? Is that everyone's understanding?
That is my understanding.
I understand.
Then I will entertain motions from the board.
I would nominate Jim Sullivan to fill the empty seat on the school board.
I'll second that nomination.
Is it the will of the board to do a roll call vote?
I think we should do a rolling roll call so that there's no first or last.
We're doing a rolling roll call.
I'm sorry, roll call?
Oh,
Standard roll call so that we change who votes first.
Rolling roll call.
Yes, that's fine.
All right.
only in Hooksett, do come up with your
Trish
votes.
Corpus,
No.
David Pearl,
No.
John Muscars,
No.
Cheryl Atkinson,
No. I make a motion to nominate Jen Legier to the open appointed school board.
Second?
Freddie David,
Yes.
Cheryl Atkinson,
Yes.
John Muscars,
No.
David Pearl,
No.
Trish Corpus.
Yes.
Tom, yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Make a motion to nominate Kathy O'Hara to fill the vacant school board seat.
I'll second.
Sure. David Pearl,
Yes.
Trish Corpus,
No.
I'm sorry,
No.
Cheryl Atkinson,
No.
John Muscars.
Yes.
I make a motion to nominate Darlene Mann for the vacant school board seat.
I'll second that.
Okay, John Muscars,
Yes.
Cheryl Atkinson,
No.
David Pearl,
Yes.
and Trish Corpus.
No.
Motion passed.
I'm not really sure what that means at the moment. I just want to will the board how we handle this deadlock.
Madam Chair, I would make a motion that we accept letters of people that would like to serve on the board who were not considered tonight. And,
So is this a motion, David?
yes, it's going to be a motion that we would accept letters from people that are interested in serving on the Hooksett board who are not considered tonight, to have those letters due for our, before the beginning of our next business meeting, which I believe would be the 20th.
I'll second that.
I just need a clarification. So the motion is that we accept letters from people who are interested in serving who did not.
Who are not considered, who
Serving who were not considered
tonight.
for the next, is there a time frame?
Yes, we have a May 20th meeting, right? Yes.
So prior to the May 20th meeting or by the May 20th?
prior to the opening of the May 20th meeting, which will be at 6:30.
Are we allowed to ask questions? Does that work that way, or am I against some?
We have a motion on the floor. Does Mr. Farrell have a second?
Yeah, John,
Did you second it? It would have to be the will of the board to let the community speak if that was the will of the board.
I would always allow the community to speak, so I'm in favor of that.
Yeah, I'm in favor of letting the public speak if it's appropriate.
For rules of order, then, Madam Chair, for the time, I'd rather remove my motion because I don't think we should allow them to speak while we have a motion on the floor.
I'll remove my second.
If members of the community would like to speak at this time.
I would like to speak. Actually, I just have a question. I guess I'm a little confused, and I apologize for that. But, so are we saying that the people that you heard this evening did not meet any specific requirements, or are we're looking for more candidates? What was wrong with what we had? Are we allowed to answer that? No, I realize it's a tiebreaker, but I thought that it would go to town council, or a different level would make the decision. Is that not how it works?
That was what I was going to bring up with David's motion. That I think the policy does state that the next level would be to go to the town council.
Okay, so that's what
And we can, supersede that if we wanted to, but that is not the direction that I would be taking. I would say we go to town council for decision.
Madam Chair, if I could just clarify that, the statute actually says that if the court is approached by a citizen asking that it be resolved by the town council, then the court should decide whether to send it to the council or not. So it is not automatic that it's going to go to the council tonight because we failed to seat someone. A citizen that wanted to go to court to ask that it be moved to a different venue could. And at the last meeting, I did cite a case that the New Hampshire School Board Association read to me, that when one district did this, the court asked the school board to make another try, and the board was successful in their second try, and in that particular case did not go to the council. But for it to go to the council, the citizen has to ask the court has to agree for it to go to the council. That's the way the RSA states it.
What's the court? Does anyone know who the court is?
Superior Court?
Superior Court, it goes that.
We're looking up in the policy right now.
That's okay. You're perfectly.
And actually, Kathy, right? Just, brought up such a great point earlier about how we just don't seem to want to get things done in one night. And it was like, wow! So it'd be really great if we could make the decision. I'm going to leave soon.
I would just like to very quickly
Seems
ask,
like
what
we
is the
have a
tie-breaking procedure? He's not going to. Is there anything in the books about tie-breaking procedures? I guess not.
The only thing that I'm aware that the New Hampshire RSA speak to is what I just quoted. This board, to my knowledge, we did not have a policy in place that dictates whether we try again or not, and that's what I was attempting in my motion, was a second try. And just to answer the other woman's question, I'm not comfortable discussing why we didn't pick anyone. I don't think it would be fair to the candidates at this point for us to have a public discussion about what we found about each person or the group. I just don't think that would be.
David, do you have the RSA you're referring to?
I can take a look.
Thank you.
It is on the website. Yeah, I don't know which one it is. It's down in the middle.
Mrs. Salvo.
Yeah, I'd just like to say something, I'm sorry, but the hot button issues tonight were electing a new member in the math program. That's why we're all here, but yet we just wasted, and I'm sorry, it was wasted time when we walked in the door at 6:30 and our teachers have to get up tomorrow morning and go teach our kids. They should have been allowed to go first, and then this should have happened, and then the rest of the business. I'm sorry, but that's part of the problem. Maybe you just need to move on and let them present what they need to present.
I would like to make a motion that we accept letters for people that are willing to fill the vacancy on the Hooksett School Board and people that were not considered tonight.
I'll second that.
I'm ready to vote on that. Yes. Actually, then, I'd like to just go back and put the May 20th deadline in there like I had previously done.
The same original motion.
Yes.
Copy, is that okay?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm.
Madam Chair, does that give us enough time to post? I guess is my only question, because I remember, Dr. Littlefield had to post in the paper. Give us enough time? 10 days?
For you to do something on the 20th, you can read it down.
Yes, I seconded that.
I call the question. Need a second? I need a second.
I'll second that.
Can we do a roll call vote, please?
A roll call vote to call the question.
Yes.
Oh, no, not to call the I'm sorry. Not to call the question on the thing. I'm calling the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 4-0.
Now you want a roll call on the question, on the
Right.
motion?
Yes, please.
So, Cheryl Axley,
No.
John Scott,
Yes.
David Pearl,
Yes.
and Trish Brooks.
No. I'd like to make a motion that we table this discussion until after the math presentation.
Second.
All.
Point of information. I don't want to make a mistake here, but if we table, can we take that off the table tonight?
Yes.
I thought we had to wait for the motion. Am I getting that backwards?
I believe you can table, we can take it off the table later.
Okay.
Exactly.
You could actually state that in your motion, table it until later in the meeting.
Okay, then I'm in favor of it. I'm sorry.
I think in my motion I did say
Yes.
to table this until after the math presentation.
As long as we're following the procedure, I'm following that.
Do we want to vote, is it the will of the board to have a roll call or voice vote? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0.